That's the bait sorted. Got fantastic stock of gear in there. It's brilliant how they built that shop up now. Got some 8mm pellets. I'm here at Lindholme Lakes today for the open match. We're actually over on Loco. I've got some 6mm pellets as well left over from our last session here, and some micros as well. So we're all sorted, but we've got to get priorities right. We've got to go and get some breakfast first. Can you just write your number, please, at the side of your name?
Hello today.
Hello.
Thank you. Thank you.
Huh? Yeah. Fly, mate.
Every hour.
Three. Fancy it? Yeah. Cart corner. Peg 24. I haven't been here since the Winter League last year. Obviously, in very, very different conditions, very different circumstances. But all the land is dry here, which is great, so it means we can drive around to the peg. So I'll see you up at the lake. Doesn't mean a lot to me, but I think the approach that I expect to be fishing is pretty much going to be the same no matter where I draw. There's going to be some shallow fishing. I'm going to be fishing with a Pellet Waggler. I've got the method feeder with me, and I have got the pole with me as well. I've got lots of shallow rigs, I've got some deck rigs, and I've got some margin rigs. So I'll just read the peg when I get to it. So I'll see you up at the lake. Loco, I'm on peg 24, so I'm there, right on the split. That lake there is Benny's, just so you know where we are. This is Loco. I did a video here once, I think, but it was winter time. It was much colder. So there we are, I think, peg 24. There we are. A very close feature to me. I'm not quite sure I would tackle that. However, look at that right hand margin. That looks ideal, doesn't it? We have got a bit of a breeze blowing in, which you've got to fancy. Can't see many fish moving around, but I'm not too concerned about that. Just going to get the gear out now, and what I'll do is I'll show you the approach, I'll show you the kit and everything once I'm actually set up on the peg. Well, it's about 10 minutes before the off. I've got to admit, that breeze is really making me fancy this even more now. It looks really inviting. As you can see, it's from the right and in, basically, going down into this left-hand corner, so it definitely looks better with that breeze on it. It's, I think it's going to be all about shallow fishing for me. I think that's what I'm here to do. This is a live match film, so it's just really about me coming here and just trying to enjoy the day and enjoy some shallow fishing, if we can catch shallow, while the weather is still nice, you know, before it gets cold, before winter. The next time I will be fishing here, it will be winter. It will be the Bomb and Feeder League. It will be very, very different. So at this stage, there's still about 10 minutes to go. I haven't even set a method feeder up. I've got one set up in my rod bag. It may be a huge mistake, but I just don't want to fish with it today, if that makes sense. I'm going to try and catch some carp shallow. So what I've basically got is, I've got a three-pronged approach really, and I'll talk you through that once we get fishing. I've got the Pellet Waggler set up for out there with 8mm pellets, obviously fishing shallow. I've got another line down here about 6 meters down to my left in front of this very inviting overhanging bush, which I'm sure will help fish coming onto that shorter line with that bit of cover. That's my feeling. I've got 2 rigs set up for that, one shallow, I've got one on the deck as well, and then later on I'm hoping to catch down this very inviting right hand margin. There's Dad there enjoying the sunshine. I've got this lovely long right hand margin going right down to this next peg, and I've plumbed up. I'm not going to go right in there, and I'm not going to go right in there. I've plumbed up just off it here. All right, so that's the approach. I'm going to feed that with pellet and corn, and that's pretty much, I think that's all I've got on the bait tray, pellet and corn. So yeah, I'm just here to enjoy it. If this breeze carries on, I really fancy it. I've seen 1 or 2 fish topping, so I'm going to kick off on the Pellet Waggler and then prime that 6 meter line, and then a little bit later on, that is when I'm going to start priming that margin line. Minutes before the off, just got a nice cup of coffee ready. I'm going to kick off on the Pellet Waggler. 11-foot rod, it's just ideal for this sort of fishing, you know, it's lovely. I've got that coupled with HX Pro, 3000 reels, £6 straight through. I'm going to kick off, I think a 4 gram finesse Pellet Waggler is going to be alright at the minute. If I've got to step that up to a 6 gram, I will do that. And that's it, really super simple setup. Obviously that's got the Matrix pellet attachments on there. So I've got that set at 18 inch, something like that, and I've just got a band on there where I can kick off with I'm going to kick off with an 8mm pellet, the exact same pellet that I'm actually going to be feeding. I've got a nice strong catapult. Obviously when you're feeding like this on the Pellet Waggler, you know, you can be feeding hundreds of times, so you want something that's going to be nice and robust. I've got some 6mm pellets there, which are what I'm going to be feeding on that 6 metre line, just in line with that platform, in that direction of the rod now, just there. I think this tree can only help give some cover, and I'm also going to feed some corn on that line as well. I've got some F1 corn, I'm going to feed some of that on there, and then later on I'm going to be tackling this margin down here. Definitely going to feed corn. Alright, so I expect to fish with corn on the hook, and I think I've soaked some micro pellets up. I may feed micro pellets there, I think, just because it's a little bit less selective. I don't know, I just feel a bit more confident with micros down that margin, but that might change as we get fishing. So there's only a couple of minutes left, so I'm going to get my nets in now they've dried out, and then I'm going to kick off on this Pellet Waggler. Just kicking off with an 8mm pellet, fishery pellet, exactly the same as what I'm going to be loose feeding. And I'm just going to start off loose feeding by hand on that 6 metre line. I'm going to leave the margin a while. I'm not going to feed that just yet. Feed that a little bit later on. And that is it really. Just keep my eye out on what's happening around me. I haven't got the method set up, that's still in the bag. So we'll find out if that's the right thing or not. That's it lads, time! Good luck everyone. Start firing a few pellets out there. I'm not going to feed too much. I want to encourage the fish to be up in the water. So I'm just feeding, well there's just 4 there, about 4 at a time. I'm starting on this line, so I'm going to get a feel for what it's like. I'm going to know if there's any fish out there or not, obviously, because I'm on it. If that wind stays like that, I think it's quite nice. Looks a lot better. I mean, over there on them early pegs over there, as you can see that the wind's off their back there. I much prefer it where I am. And then what I'm going to do is just keep loose feeding a few pellets just there on that 6 metre line. If I can catch shallow there, then that's a bonus. I'll have to feed a bit more accurate than that, aren't I? Better. But I have got a deck rig set up for that line as well. And that wind's going to make it a little bit tricky for accuracy, so I'll have to work on that. Try and get that grouping tight. Yeah, that's better. Just getting more feel for it now for that wind. Just 4 pellets at a time. I'm not trying to go too far out because that will affect accuracy of feeding, and I'll have to go to a heavier waggler as well, which I don't think I should need to, surely. We've got enough space here, they've pegged it out, spaced us out nicely, so we have got quite a bit of room, so hopefully that means the fish are going to be more likely to come closer in. Not feed this time, that's gone behind the feed that time. I'm not going to be able to leave it in long anyway. I don't like fishing like that anyway, you know. I prefer to be nice and active with it, but that wind's obviously going to be picking up the line and moving the waggler. I've just fed 3 times, had a cast, didn't get anything, so I've just cast in that time without feeding, and it's gone straight away. Feels a decent fish, but the F1s in here do actually go big. I think the F1s in here can go to £6, I'm sure now. So I'm still feeding that other line. I haven't seen any other fish caught, to be fair. I've heard a bit of splashing down to my left. There is an angler right down in the left hand corner, and I've heard some splashing down there, so I don't know if he's caught one, but I can't actually see him because of this bush. But I'm pleased to get a bit of a response on this early, because sometimes this line, you know, sometimes you've got to build it up, you know, whilst you're fishing a method or whatever. And obviously it's not the case today, so that's good, because obviously I've gambled. Well, I think I've gambled. Some people might not think it's a gamble, not starting on the method or even setting it up, but it is a gamble for me. So it's obviously encouraging that we've had 1 or 2 bites early on. It's a bigger fish than what I thought this. we go. Come on, get your mouth up. Not going to open his mouth, is it? Head first and a shuffle. There we go, first scoop. Well, that's a good start. Use a spread block. There we go, get that one. Fantastic fish, first fish on the Waggler. Let's fire a few pellets out there. Scorcher. Make the job easier. Fantastic. Fish number one. Some rack of weight up if they're all that sort of size, can't you? Let's get him in. That's it. It is. Fish number one on the clicker. Again, just on an 8mm pellet on a band. I'll leave that same depth. Just going to keep them pellets going in. So I've seen the lad next to me catch one, and one on the right's caught one as well, but still very, very early. It's encouraging to have a couple of bites on this so early on. I have gone a little bit further out. I felt when I started I didn't, or I wouldn't need to go quite as far, but I'll be honest with you, I moved out about another 3 meters or so, which is close to the max that you can go with these pellets. Can still get there with a 4-gram Waggler, and that's where I've had the 2 bites. Just in case you're casting around the feed, sometimes right in the feed, sometimes past it, sometimes left, sometimes right, and just trying to pick off fish. You know, those big fish like that are educated fish, you know. They will have been caught a few times, they will have seen it all before. I've still got the 4-gram finesse one on, but I have got loads to try, lots of different patterns, lots of different styles of Waggler. Quite often it pays just to keep switching, you know, just like we do when we're feeder fishing. Sometimes a change of feeder can get you a fish. We don't always know why, but exactly the same can apply with this style of fishing as well. So going to a 6-gram finesse Waggler. See if that makes any difference, just going that little bit further out. Just going to go back to that original depth. Just felt a bit more confident at that depth, if that's going to make a difference. Get some pellets out there, so I'm going to fire these further now. Just see if that distance and range makes a difference. Still feeding that 6-meter line. A few grains of corn as well. Probably tell by the sound of the catapult now that I'm firing those pellets further. There are 1 or 2 fish moving, but they are right out in the middle. I'm guessing that they're F1s. Let's just see if this extra bit of distance is going to make a difference. Well, we're just coming up to the end of the first hour, and I haven't had any more fish. I've only had 1 more bite since that carp. Still got a 6-gram Waggler on, and I'm exploring everywhere. I'm going right the way out, past the feed. I'm casting without any feed whatsoever. I'm dotting it around, trying to pick off any random fish. Going into the feed as well. I've varied the feeding pattern. I'm varying how much I'm been feeding, and it's not made any difference whatsoever. Another option I've got is I could go to an 8-gram Waggler and go out even further. I'd love to say it's because there aren't any fish there, but I know that's not true. I keep seeing the odd fish top or roll or show. I think they're F1s. Anywhere from about 30 meters right the way out to the middle. So I know there's fish out there, but they're proving very, very tricky to catch. It's not like I'm like missing the odd bite as well. That wind keeps coming like it is now, so you get a bit of a bow in the line, but it keeps dropping as well. I'm going absolutely flat calm and baking red hot. I haven't seen any angler around me catch. The only other angler I've seen catch is the angler over there. I've seen him playing 2 fish. He's definitely landed 1, and I don't know if he landed the other one. And his fishing a long pole and it looks like it's fishing with a jigger, which is not a route I'm going to be going down today. It looks like that's what he's doing, and he's the only one I've seen catch. I haven't noticed anybody else catch anything. So it doesn't look like it's fishing great, but we're only just under an hour in. So I'm just going to persevere with this while I'm doing for another 5-10 minutes. Trying to mix it up, just try and find anything. And then I think it's going to be time for a change. And that could either be have a look on that 6 metre line, shallow, could have a look on it deep. And the other option as well is, which is not something I really wanted to do today, but I might do it, and that's fish long pole shallow with pellet. I've got the rigs to do it. I didn't really want to be doing that, so I wanted to catch on this Pellet Waggler instead, but whatever happens, that 6 metre line has been fed now for an hour, so hopefully there might be 1 or 2 fish on that when we go on it. I'm just going to give this another 5 minutes, see if we can find another fish before we can. Just behind it again. Yes. How about that? That feels more like an F1. Well, that's what I've just done there. I've done loads and loads of times. You know, that's all you do with this method. You know, if they're not hanging themselves, you know, they're the days when everyone catches fish. You know, when they're easy to catch. When they're not like easy to catch, you know, that's when you're doing those little things all the time. Some days, big F1. Some days it really is. That one method will catch you a fish every time. You know, it's almost like a system. But that must be the 10th time I've tried that, but this time it's worked. And chunky F1s by the looks of it. Got him. They're the ones that I remember from catching through the winter on the Method and Bomb. Hey, oh, got another hook in it as well, that one. Look, I'm not fishing with 2 hooks. I've got someone's hook and band in it. Let's get rid of that. Get that out of the way, put that safe, and then get mine out. There we go. Well, it's nice to catch one doing something like what I've just done. Let's see if it's going to work for any more. What I'm going to do is get the pellet ready. I'm not going to feed it just yet, so I want to go straight on it when I've fed it. Get a pellet out, a uniform size one. There we go. Right then, that rubber's just moved under the pressure of that one bolting out of the peg. So we've got 2 now on the clicker. Right, so let's repeat. We'll feed that line first. 6 metre line, bit of corn. Right then, let's repeat it. So 1, 2, 3. Just do the same again. Just try and drop this just at the back of it. That's bigger than what I thought. Thought this was going to be another F1. I think I'm going to change that landing net head as well. This one's more of an F1 net. Not quite so good for scooping these bigger fish. Just a little bit more comfortable with that, the bigger landing net head. If I'd lost that in the first minute, I would have said it was an F1. But I'm definitely going to be changing that net. There we go, we got him. A bit too big for this net, I'm afraid. They're nice when they're in it. Big fish. No wonder he was putting up a scrap. Fantastic. I'll just pop that down. Rod over there a second, because I'm going to have to change this net. It's a very big fish, that one. Oh, yeah, so that's fish number 3. Get a few pellets out there. And I'm going to change that net. Just seen a fish rise out there as well. Landing net. This is the Horizon Power handle anyway, so we know the handle's nice and strong. But that'll definitely make sure we'll make it easier to scoop fish at the first go. just going to try and slow it down now for this next period. I'm not going to cast quite as frequently. I'm just going to slow it down a little bit so I'm not just thrashing the water. I might just encourage 1 or 2 fish to come over that feed. And hopefully they might be a little bit more confident enough for me to pick one off. Just behind the feed, about a metre past. There he is. Much easier to scoop with that big landing net. That looks a little bit overkill, but for scooping fish, it's definitely better. So that's fish number 4. I'll go back in that net. That ringer should just go in. Fits in diagonally with these nets. 2 in quick succession, which is brilliant. So I was thinking of changing, but I'm not going to now, obviously. So I'm hoping that just slowing it down a little bit is going to keep this line ticking over without me having to go on that pole line too soon. But like I say, I can't really see what anyone else is catching. Lad over to my left who was fishing shallow on the pole over there. I'm pretty sure he's definitely got at least 3. That's it really. I can't really see anyone else other than the anglers either side of me. I'm not really seeing them catch anything. Just have a cast over that now. A few seconds since I fed it. It's a good job we have got that bit of a breeze, to be fair. Otherwise it would be red hot. It'd be a little bit unbearable, to be honest. Not bad for the first week of September. That's got to go, surely. Yes. That just looks absolutely, everything about that looks ideal. Looked perfect. Well, so it's just 3 fish in the space of about 10 casts, which is a massive improvement. Like I say, whether it's because I've changed the way that we're feeding and the frequency of casting and stuff, I don't know, or whether they've just come onto it. Who knows? Oh, well, that's disappointing. I really tried not to bully that one. I really felt it was taking too long to land, so it was on my mind. That was disappointing. Oh well, I'm getting a better response on this now anyway, so I'm going to stick on this, stick what I'm doing, and keep priming that pole line. Well, I just had a really slow spell. I was just about to re-evaluate things, and just had another stray cast without feeding. Just gorging on that one. Looks like the band's come off as well, which is annoying. So that's fish number 5. Well, I must have had 40 or 50 casts without a single sign, and I was just considering picking the pole up, and I had another stray cast without feeding, and we've hooked another one. Oh, there he is. Got him. So that's fish number 6. Oh, I've even got my pellet back on that one. That's not bad for a tight Yorkshireman. Well, I'm on 6 fish, and it's very, very difficult to get a bite on this now. So I think I'm going to have a look on the pole line. Put that on there. So I'm going to have a look on the 6 metre line. I haven't fed this right on margin. I haven't fed down there yet. The time is bang on 1 o'clock, so we've still got 3 hours. Okay, I've been feeding 6 mils and micros on this line. You can see the depth. Okay, so that's the top kit, and rig wise, it's a brand new elastic this one, so I'm hoping it's going to be set all right. If not, I can change it. The float I've got on, it's actually because of the depth, it's a half gram stubby slim. Okay, carbon stem. I've gone for a carbon stem just purely because I don't really know what depth they might be at with this. I'm going to start on the deck. I don't know if they're already catching in shallow. I've got most of the weight down there in the bottom meter. Okay, I'm just going to fish with 1 grain of corn on deck just to see what's there. But I do have a shallow rig set up. I'll kick off with 1 grain of corn and this rig just touching bottom. Keep flicking a few pellets out there. Obviously I can't feed it quite as often as I have been. I will just keep putting a few out there. I'll continue to feed this line by hand. Certain sections. Yeah, the pole's nice and warm. It's been in that sun. I'm hoping this rig's going to be alright. That's where I've been feeding by hand. I've got other sections to my right just in case I do need to add sections on. That was an indication straight away there. I'm not sure if this rig's got to be shotted all right. Very, very delayed reaction there. That's obviously a bite, so that's encouraging. There are lots of skimmers in here, and obviously I don't really want those, but we know they like corn. That was another indication then, just before the rig set. Right, so they might be small fish. I think if they were proper fish, they might have been more confident than that, but I'm not going to refeed it just yet. If small fish are a problem, obviously that's an issue. That's something I'll have to try and deal with if it occurs. There we go. That's answered that question, hasn't it? On some silverfish matches, they'd be great, wouldn't they? So we know there are roach there, which may be a problem. I don't want to change anything yet, just persevere with it. Get a nice, decent sized piece of corn out. Obviously we're not going to win anything with those fish. If they do continue to be a problem, obviously I can up the feed, or if I think that's going to change things. I do have a shallow rig as well, which I can flick a few pellets over the top, or I can try and fish shallow. I don't know if we catch shallow as close as that, I don't really know, but yeah, that was another bite there. It's all been shady under this tree, doesn't it? If that was further down the peg, I definitely fancy that, but I think it's a little bit close to me for it to be somewhere to fish. But that rig's settled now. A couple of indications on the way down, but if it stays like that, that's set all right. Fast bite. Oh, flying skimmer. Oh, he's come off. Flying, hey? Flying skimmer, that one. I think what I'm going to do is, already I'm going to make my mind up to put a pot in on that, I think. I'm going to big pot it and put some pellets in. Not that many pellets, but I'm going to put a dollop of corn in, and then just give it 10 minutes, well 5-10 minutes. Just have a couple of casts back on the waggler. Just see if this is a better approach for better stamp fish. Nice big healthy dollop. I'm just going to have a couple of casts back on the waggler. Perhaps I'm going to go out with without feeding first. Back on the deck rig. Single corn. lay the rigging that way so it suits quicker. Come on, let's have a bonus fish on this. Skimmer. I don't mind catching those. Looks a bit daft in that big net, doesn't it? That big landing net. I don't mind picking odd one of those up if you're catching bigger fish in between, you know, like the odd carp or F1, but it's the weight that we need. Just gonna give it a couple more chances. And then I might try that shallow rig. I really don't know if I'm going to catch any as close as that. I mean, I could ship the pole on and go long and try and fish shallow that way. It might be worth a try if this doesn't get going. I don't really want to be going on. Well, I haven't fed my margin line yet. Oh. That's far up. Skimmer. Of course it was. Let's have a look. Yep. It's nice fishing, but they're not really the target, are they? Not today. Well, that's not happening. So, I'm going to go back on the waggler, but first I'm going to feed this margin line. I'm just going to put some micros in, I think, just because I like the spread, just to kick-start it, and then I'm going to put some corn. Okay, there we go. That's what I'm feeding to start with. I doubt I'll see any fish down that margin, just with it being, you know, quite a deep margin, but just setting to that exact spot where I've plumbed up. She is in line with that twig there. There we go, and that's it. I'll leave that for a while. Go back on the waggler. That's number 7. That's it, lads. Time! That margin, waste of time. Don't think I've fed that in the right place, and I don't think that possibly I fed the right bait. I don't know, and the 6 metre line just there was a waste of time as well. So obviously hindsight's a wonderful thing, so obviously I haven't caught on them, so you've just got to think that, you know, possibly there's a better way of tackling those lines. But that's it. So 23 pellet waggler fish again. Well, they're still weighing in up there. I think there's 2 or 3 anglers to weigh in, but I've got to admit that whatever the result, I've thoroughly enjoyed that. I never would imagine that those 23 fish would have gone over 90 pounds. I hope you're enjoying this current series of match fishing films. This is the reason why I'm here, you know. Just by filming this series for you, it's nice to get out there, fish some venues that I wouldn't normally go and fish, ones that I don't know that much about, to be fair, in a match situation. Just rock up and fish a match and film it for you, and I'm getting a chance to fish some of the methods that I wouldn't normally get a chance to fish. And it's great that these matches aren't big money qualifiers, you know, they're not team matches. It's just a great opportunity to get out there and enjoy some summer matches before the weather starts getting that little bit colder.
Still there. 20 quid. Second, Jamie Harrison, take 24 with 93.6.
Hey! Not on the feeder. Thank you.
I win it today, Paul Wright, take 3 with 139.6.
Well done, mate.
Thank you very much. Taking money then.